What is a good funnel conversion rate? So if you're running a webinar funnel, if you're running a VSL sales call funnel, if you've got a low ticket offer, like what's a good cost per lead? What is a good cost per sale? What's a good anything? So I actually get this question a lot, right? It's like, what is a good conversion rate for my funnel? And the answer, like a lot of things in marketing, is it depends, right? It depends on your market. It depends on your economics. It depends on a lot of stuff. And so actually what I'm going to show you in this video right here is how do you figure out what is that number for you? I actually put together a calculator that I'm going to show you here in a second, where I will show you how you can figure out what these numbers should be in your business. Because if you're running a biz op offer in a super competitive market, you're going to have really different numbers than if you're running an offer in the dating space or personal development offer. All of the market that you're in, all of the different types of funnels that people are running, all of that is going to play a huge impact on what your numbers should be. But the good news is we can back our way into these numbers. So with a little bit of calculations, and we can do this all on a spreadsheet that I'm going to show you, we can figure out like what should those numbers be for you, so that you know, hey, if I want to hit $100,000 a month, these are the numbers that I need to hit in my funnel. So I'm going to jump over and show you that right now. Okay, so this is a calculator that I've put together that you can actually get access to. So just in the description below this video, there will be a link so you can actually download this and use this yourself. But let me just show you really quick how this works, because I think this is a super important thing for everyone who wants to get into funnels and running ads and getting customers online using sales funnels, is understanding like how different conversion rates and how different economics are going to change your funnel. Because I've seen this a lot where people set up a funnel and they get everything set up correctly, and then they start running ads. It's not converting the way they want it to. And then they spend all this time just focusing on like how to change out their ads and testing different background colors and all of this stuff. And they don't realize the impact of that each lever can have as they change that inside of their funnel. And once you start using a calculator, kind of like what I'm showing you on the screen, it starts to make it really easy to see, okay, well, where are we at now? And what are those numbers going to be when everything shakes out at the end? And then what would have the biggest impact on our funnel? Because maybe the biggest impact that you need to make isn't actually doing anything with your ads. Maybe your ads are actually working great. And what you need to do is go fix your application rate or fix the number of people who show up on phone calls. And so what we want to do is figure all of that stuff out. And we can use a calculator very much like this. So what you're seeing on your screen, I've kind of mapped out a sales call funnel. And these are basically the different steps that someone would go through. When you get this file down there, what you can do is you can change anything in blue. So in the beginning, if you're just getting started and you have no data at all, you're just going to have to kind of make up some numbers based on what your best judgment is. If you've been running this funnel organically, then there's a good chance that those numbers could hold once you start running paid ads. I would always just assume, like, if you're getting traffic organically and you start running paid ads, all your conversion rates are going to go down because you just have a less interested individual. They don't have as much of a relationship with you. So just turn all your numbers down a little bit and assume that's a good getting started place. If you have some benchmarks from funnels you've ran in the past or something like that, you can plug those in. But like, let's just make some random assumptions here. Like, hey, I'm going to commit to spending 10K. I'm going to spend $4 a click. That's not bad. Let's assume I've got like a 25% opt-in rate. 10% of those people go to actually apply for us. Let's say we have a 65% show up rate, because between cancellations and show ups, that's not that, that happens. And then let's say I've got a 25% enrollment rate. So out of all the people who show up and take a live call, 25% of them, 1 in 4, actually join our program. And so what you can see here is like, if I spend $10,000 on ads, I'm going to get 2,500 clicks over onto my landing page. I'm going to get 625 leads. I'm going to be paying $16 a lead. I'll get 63 applications. I'd have an application rate of like application of 158, 160 here. I'd get 41 show ups. So it would cost me about $250 to get someone on a call. And I'd get 10 sales at $1,000. So this wouldn't be bad this would actually be great if you were selling like a $3,000 or $5,000 program, right? The other thing you can add down here is I've got some spots for like calculating fixed expenses. So, let's assume that you're using Stripe and you've got 2.5% or 3% fees for processing. Let's assume that you're spending, I don't know, $1,000 a month on, or, let's spend $1,000 on ClickFunnels and Hyros and all this other stuff. So you've got that set up in there. And so what this will do is tell you like, here are all your numbers. But let's say what is your cost per revenue per sale? Oh yeah. So we're saying we've got basically a 4K program here. So this will tell you your profitability, your ROAS, what's your total earnings, your earning per visitor, your earning per lead, your earning per, what's your average call worth. And these are your conversion rates right over here. So what you can see is like, this would actually be a really profitable funnel. I think most people, I'd be super happy if this was my business and we were doing this, But oftentimes what you see is like, man, your cost per click click goes up, your landing page conversion rate goes down, your application rate goes down, and you can see how these really start to quickly impact what numbers you're paying. And, just based on that, where our cost per click went up and our opt-in rates went down, our application rate went down, all things being the same, the sales team's still doing a great job, our profitability just really went down. But what's really valuable here is once you see it this way, you can start to come in here and go, okay, well, where should I focus my attention? I can only do so many things at once. So what if I just spent all of my time making sure that our application rate went up? Because if that was our goal, what we could do? Well, we could send more emails. We could send more valuable emails. We could implement SMS texting. We could get setters to just reach out to people and who become leads and actually just start setting them up and doing triage calls and stuff. So we've got a lot of options here in order to get that application rate up. And then you can see our profitability starts going up really quickly. If we start doing some A/B testing on the landing page, we can start to see how our profitability also goes up, right? If we start to do some tests on our ads and we can get our cost per click down, you can see again, all of these things start to make an impact on our profitability. So when you have a calculator like this, you can start to use this to make decisions about where you should be going and what you should be doing next. I've also got a little spot down here. If you just kind of know more or less what your desired ROAS is, let's say, based on your hard costs and the life you want to live, you want to be getting about a 4x ROAS. This will tell you about the number of sales you should be going for. So you can kind of play with those numbers here. So this is how you can use a calculator like this to figure out what should your webinar conversion rates be. And again, if you're just getting started, you have no idea, you kind of just have to plug in some industry benchmarks based on what you've maybe seen in your market with what you've done. So I know from running a lot of ads, if we're running biz op offers, B2B stuff like that, usually our cost per click is much higher than if we're running something like personal development or health or something like that. So that's going to play a big role over here in your costs. Your landing page conversion rate, B2B, I would say I've seen really lowest end is 15%, all the way up to 25, 30%. If you're running less than 15, something's probably wrong there. Even that's really low, but with some B2B niche offers, that works. Application rate, I would say 5 to 10% is probably about a good place to get started. Show up rate, again, 65 to 80%, because you're going to have people cancel this because they're just not qualified, and they're going to have people who don't show up. And then enrollment rate, 20 to 25%. Those are probably some good just standard benchmarks there. But again, this is going to depend a lot on your industry and the market that you're working in and your funnel. But once you start to have some numbers, once you've been running ads for a couple of weeks or a month, you can start to throw in numbers like this. And I'll keep this for clients. What I'll do is I'll go take our current numbers and I'll look at what have been going on the last 2 weeks, last month, the last couple months, and I'll throw those in here and start to look at, okay, what are our numbers and where should we focus our attention to get the biggest shift? I know I was just doing this for a client. I've also got a self-liquidating low ticket offer down here. We've got a client that we were running these numbers for, and we basically ran all these numbers and went, man, this funnel's converting really well. We just have a really high CPC on the ad platform. So what did we do? We focused most of our attention on ads. Now that would be very different if our ads were crushing it and we saw that we were getting a really low order bump and upsell rate. That would totally change where we focused our time over the next couple of weeks. So that's why these calculators are really valuable. And this is what you should be doing to figure out what should a good cost per lead be, or a cost per registration or something like that. Because once you start to look at it this way, you start to see what should my number be? And then what's the biggest impact that I could make using that? One super important thing to understand is if you cannot make your funnel work on paper like this, it is not going to work in real life. What I mean by that is if you're calculating in your numbers and your price point and your conversion rates and you are not profitable in this spreadsheet, you are not going to magically turn on ads and then make money. So just be super aware of that, because I've seen a lot of people who can't make their funnel work on paper because they're looking at their conversion rates and they're also looking at their price point, and then they want to start running ads to it because they think that's going to fix things. It's not going to fix things at all. Your ads are just going to amplify whatever you are doing with your funnel. So make sure you can make it work on paper like this. So hopefully you found this helpful by being able to use a calculator like this to figure out what your numbers are. It actually makes it way easier to figure out what is a good webinar conversion rate or a good funnel conversion rate for your funnel. And then also being able to figure out where should you go spend your time and energy to make the biggest impact. Because again, when you take a full view like this, you start to really be able to see the big picture about what you should be doing. I've seen so many people who are so focused on just their ads or just their landing page or something like that, they forget about the entire funnel and that you can make optimizations at every step in order to get better results. Now remember, you can grab that funnel calculator just below in the description. So if you want to go check that out, click just below and you can grab that exact calculator. Now, if you want to get a breakdown of one of these funnels, like we were just talking about with this sales call funnel, I've actually got this video right here where I will break down step by step how we're setting up our sales calls funnels so that we're optimizing to get the best results possible and the best conversion rates. So check out this video right there, and I'll see you over there.